Hey guys, it's Chris Prefontaine with Smart Real Estate Coach for another Deal Structure Sunday. You might be seeing this elsewhere, but we are doing that today. A new deal just closed as of this filming yesterday, I think. We'll hear more in a second, but I'm here with the High Six associate, Bill Reich. Bill, say hello, and maybe these guys might have met you. I was busting you a little bit saying you're a celebrity now, but these guys may not know you. So what was your background, and what were you doing before us?
Basically a career in commercial real estate. I was a broker, primarily working on leasing and sales, got into investment sales later on in my career. So I've been doing that, Chris, for about almost 40 years, and was pretty tired of it. And so I found you guys through a very circuitous route. Is that the word? Circuitous?
You know what? It's way too late in the day for me to start figuring out definitions and spelling. I'm going to go with it.
Okay, good. Circuitous.
There you go.
And, you know, the rest, as they say, is history.
All right. So I didn't bring this one up at the recent QLS live event, which, by the way, you've been to two. Can you tell these guys why they should be at the next QLS live? Because we're going to do it every year and it only gets better. In your best snippet.
Sure. Well, last year I was blown away, and that was my first intro to you guys and this amazing group that you have put together. And this year made it look like a picnic in the park compared to a grand event at some amazing hotel that is catered and wonderful. It just keeps getting better and better and better. And this was, you'll forgive the expression, a quantum leap as compared to last year. So I can't even wait for next year. That's all I can tell you.
Good. So needless to say, they need to be there, right?
Yeah. I mean, the speakers, the quality, the sharing, the interaction with all the other investors, it was magical. Yep.
Okay. Now I've got something. What brought that up? But I got something before we get to your deal that I didn't ask you at QLS, and I've got to ask this before. And the question is this: I've had it from a few people on the phone when I brought you up. They'd say, "All right, well, that's great, but Bill had experience in real estate." And I'm going to tell you what I told him, and I want you to sincerely answer it. And your shirt says sincere, so you have to.
I'll be 100% sincere.
So I said, look, when I started doing terms only as a focus, I had to learn. I had a mentor. I didn't know what the paperwork to use when I got a buyer. I was all confused. And I remember like it was yesterday. Now it's second nature, but it takes time. So what do you say to that when they say, well, he had some commercial experience, that's why he did well?
Had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. It's night and day. This is residential real estate. You're dealing with emotions. You're dealing with sellers who have to get out of the situation. You're dealing with buyers who emotionally cannot get a mortgage loan and they can't buy a house for their family. So it's a very different level. I dealt with a lot of institutional types. It was a bloodless, cold decision on their part. And this is emotional, and I like that. That kind of works for me.
Well said. That's real well said, because it is a different energy, totally different energy. Okay, so your first 6 months, I'm going to get to your deal. This is deal structure, but there's some cool points here. So your first 6 months, how many deals did you do with us?
Counting none.
All right, so it just drives me crazy when people come in and they tinker with this thing for a month or two. You know some people, you met them this weekend, they're still tinkering for a month or two, but they're not sure they should do it. So for the person that has done QLS and is trying to make a decision, or the person has done nothing yet, trying to make a decision, in your mind, how long should people commit to this process of launching a business? It's a business. It's a big business.
It's like how high the moon. I mean, my feeling is if you've had a history throughout your whole life of being a quitter, don't do this.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got to stay in for the long haul. 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, you're not going to really gain any kind of serious traction. Potentially 6 to 12 months. Yeah, I had a great year. Why? Because at the end of 6 months, we started to see the results, and it snowballed. All our hard work paid off. And I'm saying I have a partner, Joanne, as you know, and it helps to have a partner, but you don't need one. You just need to stick to this because it works if you work it. You know, it's that tired old phrase.
Yeah, and 6 months is. I talked to a guy today, Bill, right before you. He was at the event one day. I didn't get a chance to meet him, and he said, "Look, I've got a very conservative plan. I'm ready to leave my job. I put money aside. I just want to do 2 deals before the year end, and then next year I've got a plan for 12." You know, he's very conservative. I said, "Perfect." Right out of the gate, he's got his expectations, under wraps. So
Absolutely. And it helps to do that. You listen to all these gurus who say, make your first deal in 30 days. It
right.
happened, but it's not typical.
I agree. And all the students we've gone through, and this is my last point, and then I'll move on to your deal. We had in the audience, Sean, I won't say his last name, but I busted him the whole time because he did do a deal in 30 days back in 2014 or 15 and hasn't done one since. He just kind of jumped off the radar. So look, it can be done, but it's not the norm. So let's talk about your deal. You're at a point, for those of you that don't know Bill or our system, the associates have a point where they can cap out. And what that means is they don't need to share any deals with us. We may do deals on the side as partners with something, but they don't have to stay in the associate program if they don't want to, or out of their life, or whatever they want to do. So it's pretty cool because at that point you made some really good money. There's really no way of capping out without getting yourself somewhere between 300 and a million. And you're at a point now, I think you're approaching the mill. And what deal was this closing for you yesterday, or where are we with deals? 8, 7?
No, this was number 9.
Number 9.
This was number 9.
Cool.
So I'm pretty close to saying goodbye, although you and I both, I ain't going anywhere. So.
I know that. A cool thing about our group is everybody says that. So we'll be doing something together forever. So let's talk about this deal. This deal was for those listeners that are new, Bill, we do sandwich, we do owner financing, we do sub 2, and we do what we in the group call AO, assign out, where we find a tenant buyer, but we assign it back to the seller because myriad of reasons, we're out. So talk about the source, anything you want to say about the deal, and then let's do the numbers.
Yeah, the source was I'm pretty sure it was an expired. And it's funny, it was, we do these live broadcasts and a lot of the numbers we get are landlines. So we typically don't reach out to them. We just drop the ringless voice messages onto the mobile phones. I looked at this list and he was almost at the top of the list, and I saw his house had been on the market for, I think, $1,475,000. So a much higher end home than we typically do. Although in my area, 700,000 is not considered an expensive home.
Yeah.
So I just picked up the phone on a whim and I said, I'm going to call the guy. And I talked to him, and gosh, it's got to be 9 months ago I first contacted him. Long story short, we put it under our agreement, and it was an assignment deal, which meant that basically I was going to collect the down payment and then I was going to split it with him. I know better at this point not to go 50-50, but that's another story for another time. So essentially and I told him that we were going to probably, a house in this price range was going to be about a 10% down. So I figured roughly 150. So the agreement we had always was that I'd get half of that, or $75,000. The market here has really slowed perceptibly for upper end homes, which is a real opportunity for us going forward.
Absolutely.
And so I took this property in, let's say March. I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
That's right. It was a while ago, though.
It had been a while, and he just stuck with me. And what made this unique, this was a co-listing with a realtor who was going to put it out on the market on the MLS and was going to try and sell it at the same time I was looking for a tenant buyer. My seller was always intrigued by our model, thought it was wonderful. And the bottom line is, after 6 months, I think, his agent did not produce one viewing of the house. Not one prospect. I had 5.
And just so these guys know, Bill's not licensed. When he says co-listing, he means just co-effort.
Yes, yes, yeah.
We don't list. 5 showings in that same time. And then, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I had a call from a realtor who was representing, as it turns out, her daughter, and thought this was a perfect opportunity for her daughter, who has a medical practice. And inside of a week, we had a signed letter of intent for a total of $1,410,000.
And how much down?
Rather than 10%, she put $75,000 down with some periodic payments to get her up to around $99,000 over a period of, let's call it, 2 years.
And you guys are splitting those as they come in for payday, what we call payday ones?
We were splitting them. It's changed because my seller agreed to pay the fee to the realtor, but asked me to front it because he needed every dime out of this transaction up front because he's moving into a new home. I agreed to do that. I agreed to write her a check for $10,000 and to pay me back. I'm keeping his share of what it would have been $1,000 a month going forward for virtually 2 years. So what I'm going to wind up with is a guarantee of $70,000 on essentially $100,000 down payment.
Nice.
So it's more than, and that's why I was kidding around. I thought maybe that was payday number 5 or payday number 6, the way we worked it out. But yeah, and I think she's good for it. We closed at our attorneys yesterday morning, and they're as happy as can be, and my seller is happy as can be. And
you, your total gross on that, meaning before our split, before we rev share.
Oh wait, did you get something on that one? Oh yeah,
I got one more deal left. So what was the total gross profit day one? Because they know you're getting payments, which I'll explain in a minute.
Yeah, all in, it's about $70,000, which is slightly under our average here in the DC area. We're 75, 80,000.
Sweet. So a couple of things you said I want to clarify for the viewers. So slide broadcast is one of many systems that we teach. It's inside of the expired dialing process. Bill and Joanne do a great job with it. It's part of the QLS course. If you already have that, make sure you study up on it. And the course gets updated constantly and you don't have to pay anything for that. I wrote down 9 months. Is that how long? Yeah, we had the thing for about that long. Is that why I wrote down 9 months? Why did I write down 9 months?
I actually had it for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started to talk to him 9 months ago.
Okay. That's it. That's what I wrote down. Okay. So that's important, Bill, because I was critiquing some calls today, part of what we do, as you know, and you did that at the beginning of your process with us. And I wrote, look, you can mess up the script a little bit as long as you have follow-up and you don't just, I messed it up and no, follow-up is key. When you say 9 months is a long time to stick with this guy and follow up and make sure you get the buyers in there. So,
and P.S. for all you newbies out there, I mess up my scripts all the time. I don't use scripts anymore. It's up here, which is probably explains why I mess it up all the time. But you just make up for it as you go along. And then, as Chris says, the follow-up is key. You take notes during that conversation. You follow up with a note, say, I meant to tell you this, or
yeah. And
you just stay in communication with them and make sure they're clear. We are actually, and I know you probably don't like this, you don't like the teaching part, but we're teaching people. They don't understand this process.
No, we are. I kid around and say we don't want to give a seminar, but a lot of these people, the light bulb goes off and said, I never heard this, to which I say, look, these deals have been around for decades. Now, how you structured this one, unique. How we do other ones, unique. But that's why we're part of a group and we're on Slack and we're sharing ideas and learning and growing.
Yep.
So you are past, hey, can I have help on this call, or can I have help on scripts in your deal structure now? And now it becomes more of how can I scale my business? So at a much higher level than we started the call, what are your thoughts for the person that is trying to go at their own? And I'm not saying everybody has to revenue share and be an associate, but I am saying that with the camaraderie, with the help, with the support, with the coaching, I would think you can scale more quickly. I mean, what's your gut on that, just for people to hear that?
Well, you can either make the mistakes yourself or learn from people who have made the mistakes and avoid that, and just go that much faster.
Yeah.
And I've always been reluctant to listen to other people. I never really had a mentor in my career, in my 40-plus year career. And it just makes all the difference in the world. It's the confidence that you've got the backing, and that there are other people out there who have the know-how and the experience to help guide you. And again, you avoid a lot of the problems up front. It's going to cost you one way or the other. Either lost deals is a big cost, or if there's a revenue share with you, I'd rather pay you and help me to avoid those issues.
Well, here's a big issue, and other than your parting thoughts, I'll wrap up. But your deal that you just structured is not a run-of-the-mill deal, and it's a 70 grand payday. So that is a great example of, I probably saw this deal, or I probably talked to the seller, and I can't do a 1.4 million, or I couldn't have done that thing because he had a realtor. All those decisions you made, that cost them 70 grand to not have that deal going on. And I haven't announced anything formally yet, but at the event we did announce you're going to be coaching. So how cool would it be to have you and the family and everyone else in their corner to say, I got this lead, I have no clue what to do. Boom. It's such a big deal. It's a big opportunity cost. They don't do it.
It's huge. You can't put a dollar amount on it.
Right.
For sure.
All right. Any parting thoughts for Deal Structure Sunday, Bill? Because these guys watch these every week, and they like the deal structures. They're all different. This is totally unique.
Just know that someone within our tight-knit group, our universe, if you will, has walked on the same path you're walking.
Yeah. And
reach out and just on a formal or informal basis, get in touch with whoever you're comfortable with in our group. But certainly your first stop is Chris and Zach and Nick and everybody else. And then all of us in our little group are available for a consultation. I'm now doing accountability calls with 3 of my compadres, and it's wonderful. I was on the phone with Jennifer this morning for almost a half hour for a 15-minute call.
That's great.
And she's going to be terrific, and she's not afraid to ask questions, and that's the key. Use us. We're here. That's what we're here for.
It's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys, meaning not you, Bill. I know you're going to be there, but the viewers at the next QLS Live. We do have a cool half-year event we added in between to keep the synergy going and to keep the learning and scaling. It's called Business Scaling Secrets. So hope to see you there. If you're not subscribed, please do so you don't miss these deal structures, as well as the Thursday Q&A, as well as the Motivational Monday. Bill, thanks for your time, buddy, and congrats on another great closing, and same to Joanne.
Thank you, Chris. Good to see you.